Having installed CamTrap Pro, we now start it by double-clicking on the desktop icon. Now it's loading up, and we're warned that we're using the demo license. We'll say OK. And now we'll find a license key from the list provided on the removable drive. We're using week 8 data, so we'll select a license key and load it in. And we don't need to close and reopen in this case. The next thing we need to do is to set up the preset values for all the animal species which are likely to be found. So we click on presets and now add, and we read them from a file in this case which is sitting on the desktop. So we go to the desktop and there are presets for Ainsley Majura.txt, and now we add those, and there they all are, all the animals which are likely to be found. And now we load up the data. So we go to File, Open Folder, and we select the week of data we're going to process. There'll only be one on the USB drive provided for Ainsley Majura, and we select it. So we now scan it to see if there are any folders and to also count the number of files in each camera folder. But we're not interested in that. We're going to not select from all of the camera folders. And so now the loading starts, and it will take about 10 minutes. So we'll just stop while that's happening. So we've now loaded nearly 114,000 files, and the first file will be shown on the main screen, which in this case looks like someone's finger. The next step is to show the count versus time for all of the files which we've loaded. To do this, we go to Analysis, Count versus Time, and we'd like to show the highlighted figures and any tags which have been applied. Obviously there aren't any at the moment, but we'll say OK, and away that goes. And now we've nearly finished loading the count versus time chart, and it will shortly appear on the right hand side of the screen. Just wait a little while and it will fill the entire screen. So now we've got a plot on the right hand side of the file count, and on the x-axis on the bottom is the time of recording, and a blue dot indicates that there's an image corresponding to that particular time. And all of the images from the different cameras are stacked on top of each other, and you can see they go from camera 01 up to camera 35. Now, in order to analyze the data, we need to apply the results from some machine vision processing, and we can do this by selecting Highlight, Machine Learning, and Load JSON file. So we'll look for the JSON file within the folder which we loaded up. There it is, and now we'll open it. So the first message we get is while the file is actually being unpacked, because it's dealing with about 100,000 files. It takes a little while. But anyway, it's now started processing the data and finding detections of animals in the images. So we will wait a while until it finishes. Unfortunately, the time it takes is not easily predictable, but we'll just pause it for the moment. Now that the JSON file has been loaded and all the images have been processed to see if the JSON file contains any detections in them, we see the screen as shown in front, as now shown. We can we would now like to reload just the highlights, and all we're interested in are detections of animals. So we'll select that and say OK. And now we'll proceed with the reload, which is much faster as there are many fewer files highlighted than were loaded. We don't want to select from cameras. And now we proceed through the reloading till we've got about 18,000 files loaded, which will show detections for all of the cameras. So the plot's fairly similar, except all the images which don't have detections in them are no longer shown. So we'll select a camera to view. We'll choose camera 6, which has a number of steps in its data. The first one looks like an echidna, so is the second one, shingleback, magpie, dog, magpie, shingleback again, a lonely blue tongue, a bird, and a false detection, and that looks like a kangaroo. So we'll now proceed to add tags to mark all of those animals. So we zoom in to show a group of detections, and now we choose the very first one, and which is an echidna, and we go to tag multiple and choose echidna from the list, a medium to large mammal. Now we'll just, in this case, rather than tagging all of the images shown, which is the default option, we'll just tag the first one. So we'll say apply, that's done. And now to view the tag, because we selected that tags would be shown in red, we go refresh points, and the tags turn red, so we can cancel it. So now let's zoom out again with Control U, choose the next group of detections, pick the first one, echidna again, and repeat the process, tag multiple, select our reptilian echidna, and just tag the first one. And now refresh, which we can do with Control R. That's turned red, back out. We'll just select all of those. And this is blue tongue. So we'll choose reptile, shingleback from the list, and just tag one. Control R, that's turned red. And in fact we get 2 detection events here because there's more than 10 minutes between these two. You can see this by changing the default time, so that will actually count as 2 detection events which were shown. We'll zoom out, Control U, it's all gone black because our lines are so close together. We'll go back to the default, choose this block, and I think again that's a shingleback. No, it's a magpie. Magpie. So we'll choose to tag that with bird, Australian magpie, just the first. And now Control R, and there's the red points. You can cancel it. Back out with Control U. Let's choose this group. which is a dog. Choose the first one and make a selection from tag multiple and say this is an off-leash dog. Control R to show the point. Cancel that. And it looks as though we've got another episode of the dog. Yeah, that's gone up a little further than it should. So let's clear that, which we can do by saying, well, we've got to remember that we will in fact process all of the visible points. That one was a bit wide, so it's actually a mistake. So let's go here. Oops, we've got completely lost here. Let's choose this group. And because that's red, that's had a tag applied to it, but it is not a dog. So for all of these, we'll say we'll tag them all, and it is tagged with magpie. So if we now go here, we can see that that's correctly tagged. We'll now zoom out, Control U, another group here, and this is shingleback again. Tag that, and apply. Control R, turned red, so that's okay. Move out with Control U. Last blue tongue. Because there's only one, we can set the preset for just a single file, which shows much the same as for tag multiple, and we choose reptile, blue tongue skink, copy it, and there it is. These two here, a bird, bird again, bird flying off, tag that, and I don't know what sort of bird that is, so we'll call that unknown, and just apply it to the first. Control R to show the tag, back out, Control U, false detection, not to be tagged at all, and lastly kangaroo, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's an eastern grey. So we go to medium mammal, eastern grey kangaroo, apply, and refresh, and there it is. So we've now tagged all of the detections in for that particular camera, and you just have to repeat that for all of the other cameras in your data. And if you want to check on what you've done, if you want to close the time analysis form, you'll be asked if you want to create or rebuild a tag summary. So in this case we'll say yes, and we're going to scan files which have been tagged with CamTrap Pro. And now we're going through all of the data and setting the start and stop times on tags. And now if we go to Summarize Tags and View, there's all the data which we've gathered for that particular camera. So this is really just to check the final grouping of the data